Hello everybody, this is Signaker from se2gg.com commentating on the 2008 World Cyber Games US Open that was held in New York City the last weekend of May. And this is Game 2 between Artosis and Nyoken. We saw Game 1 between them on Blue Storm, and Artosis opened up with a very early barracks, and he was able to get a proxy build on Nyoken, which is he built his buildings that could produce attacking units like pretty much right next to Nyoken's base. And the game ended in less than 4 minutes, so it was a very short game, and poor Nyoken just had no idea the game was over before he even realized it was over. So this time around, the map is Gaia. I'm gonna go ahead and load that up, and we can see that Artosis here is the green Terran at the 6 o'clock, and Nyoken is in the bottom left-hand corner. And we can see Gaia, of course, is a 4-player map, but it's used quite often as a 1 versus 1 map. And you can see here that we have the natural expansion, and it's actually quite vulnerable to attack because of the large bridge here, especially against a Terran opponent, because they can do a sort of the Terran push, which is when you get vultures and you lay spider mines around to help cover your flanks, prevent units from rushing directly into attacking you. You get siege tanks, and you just kind of leapfrog them into the enemy base, and you slowly push the opponent back and destroy his base that way. And another thing about this natural expansion is that there's a little ramp that leads down into behind the minerals there that can allow easy access for raiders, especially vultures, to get in there and destroy peons that could be mining there when Artosis decides to take his expansion, or even Nyoken here. A little bit harder for Artosis to raid Nyoken because the ramp is on the far side. It's actually pretty much right next to this central bridge here, so Nyoken can pretty much kill 2 birds with 1 stone by putting siege tanks just pretty much right there. So Artosis is in a slightly disadvantaged position in this 6 o'clock location. And also another thing is that their main bases are actually really close to each other, and we'll probably see dropships employed. And again, Nyoken has the advantage of that because his minerals face away from Artosis' base. You can see Artosis would have to be able to fly his dropships in further, and dropships are the flying transport unit of the Terran army. He'll have to fly his units in further into Nyoken's base to try to get to those SCVs, while Nyoken could just pretty much land his army anywhere in this position and just instantly attack Artosis. So this game already could shape up into Nyoken's favor if he uses the map to his advantage. Both players scouting with those SCVs, trying to find out the location of the other player. And right now we can see pretty much identical builds for both players. Artosis just a little bit further behind in his factory than Nyoken's. He just finished his 2nd depot, and Nyoken just finished up with his. Now it looks like that's the reason why Artosis' factory is just a little bit further behind than Nyoken's, is that he got his supply depot up a little bit sooner, and that's going to allow him to continually pump out SCVs and not have to worry about a food cap. And he'll be able to continually pump out those SCVs just a little bit faster than Nyoken can. And you can see that he's already up about maybe 2 food supply to Nyoken. Nyoken put down his 2nd factory, and of course both players have a very general idea where the other one is by now, so they're lifting off their barracks to scout the enemy base. Now by this time, of course, you can see Artosis has his ramp blocked, as does Nyoken, so they're going to lift off these barracks to scout around and see what the other player is doing. Oh, almost a perfect mirror right there, how they passed over each other. Artosis getting an armory, and that's going to provide 2 things. Because neither player knows what the other is going for at the moment, they have to prepare for maybe a potential wraith harassment, and that's when a Terran player goes just 1 factory, and you can see Artosis getting his 2nd factory, and Nyoken's 2nd factory already done getting a machine shop. Is when, as I was explaining before, is the armories that prevent wraith harassment. That's when a Terran player goes 1 factory into the starport, and they harass your base with wraiths, which are a small quick flying attack unit. And if you get the early armory, then you'll be able to get Goliaths, because right now you can see Marines are pretty much the only anti-air that a Terran has, and they're very weak, especially against wraiths. And because wraiths can cloak, and that means it renders them invisible, so then of course these Marines won't be able to attack anything. So Goliaths are a great early game deterrent. They do a lot of damage to air units, and then of course if Artosis gets an academy up, or Nyoken, because he has an armory as well, looks like, they'll be able to defend against those wraiths. So they're just getting the armory in case that becomes a problem. Not to mention Goliath can easily take out these flying barracks if Nyoken or Artosis decides to linger theirs a little bit longer. See Artosis forced to flee with his SCV, Nyoken pushing out with his siege tanks. Artosis pushing out as well. And not quite sure what either player is really going for. Nothing is going in their machine shops. Oh, okay. So Nyoken going for siege mode here. And he could use that offensively or defensively. Because Nyoken has no idea really what Artosis is doing with his tech. And that's actually why he's sending that barracks in right there. Gonna take a look and see if these machine shops are spinning at all. And, oh, looks like Artosis is just now getting his siege mode, so he's just a little bit further behind in terms of tech here. And Nyoken gonna go and get his siege mode. I don't know if he even noticed the machine shop just started up as that barracks was flying by. Otherwise, if he had noticed that, he probably would be pressuring Artosis a little bit because he knows he's gonna get siege mode just a little bit faster than Artosis. Artosis moving out with a small force. So you're gonna try to put pressure on Nyoken. Try to force him back into his main base and not take his natural expansion, which you can see that SCV is doing right here. Artosis taking his natural expansion, and Nyoken is going to see that. And that is a very common move by all StarCraft players in general. As soon as you feel that you need an expansion and that you can do some damage to an enemy, you push out with a small force to allow you to take an expansion. And of course, the enemy has to deal with that force before you can go and pressure your expansion attempts. And of course, Artosis looks like he sees that Nyoken has siege mode now. He's gonna go ahead and retreat and not risk losing his forces, because he can also see that Nyoken has a large tank force here in the middle compared to Artosis' rather small tank force. So he's just gonna fall back a little bit, get into a little bit better defensive position, leave this Marine out here to scout, and he'll probably just try to get this expansion online and just try to bring Nyoken into a mid-game macro fest here. And macro means building up a large army and then attacking that. And macroing is when you're just continually pumping out units. You're never letting your production facilities idle, constantly just pumping out those units to make sure you always have an ample army to attack with. And I was hearing some firing going on. It looks like Artosis has Goliaths out. They're going to be able to take out those barracks. And Artosis himself has a starport getting that control tower, which means he's probably going to go for dropships and try to harass Nyoken's main base. Nyoken looks like he's getting the same idea here, getting a starport himself. Nyoken lost his barracks, so he's going to have to build another one now, because if you don't have a barracks, you can't build any more factories. So you're going to have to replace that if he's going to want to continue building more factories. You can see that Nyoken has stopped SCV production in his main base, and that means he's going to be pumping most of his resources into fighting troops. Nyoken coming around now with a flank with vultures. They're speed upgraded and they have spider mines. So it looks like Nyoken going to try to use the map to his advantage. He's going to come down here and try to harass Artosis. And Artosis, he's had this expansion online for a lot longer than Nyoken, and he's not moving any of his SCVs down. So that's boy, I don't know why you get an expansion then not fill out with SCVs. Artosis realized that those siege tanks and those vultures are out there somewhere. Puts this SCV here. Nyoken coming in now, trying to get these two siege tanks. Really, I don't know why he decided to come in through the front door here. He could have just easily came into the side door and sniped off some SCVs, but now he's going to lose these vultures without really causing too much damage. He's going to maybe get that one siege tank at 8 HP, and no, the vulture gets picked off, and the siege tank survives the ordeal. SCV here gets picked off by Nyoken's siege tank, so now Artosis knows that Nyoken is on his way down. Gonna move these siege tanks down in position, try to stop Nyoken from getting a good advantage position on him. This high ground will allow these siege tanks to just easily push into Artosis' natural expansion, but of course Artosis gets that SCV up there just in time, gonna force Nyoken back. And what is Nyoken doing? He is getting a dropship himself. He's also taking a third base and getting that refinery up very, very early. You can see he's desperate for Vespene gas. Green dot moving across the map here, and Artosis looks like, I heard a comsat go off, so he hears a comsat. Comsat in this area saw that Nyoken's main base was undefended, goes in, and he's going to get some SCV kills here. 3, 2, 2, 4, 5. So these Goliaths got about two SCV kills apiece, and that's really going to set Nyoken back. That's about 300 minerals, 400 minerals that Nyoken just lost here, and that's a lot of minerals. So now he's going to have to spend more resources into SCVs trying to get that those SCVs back so he can continue mining. And not to mention, he also pulled SCVs off the mineral line here, and that's going to cost him mining time. Obviously, when the SCVs are not mining minerals, you're not getting those minerals, so that's going to also cost Nyoken a little bit. And Artosis pushing out here. Looks like he caught a couple siege tanks off guard. Nyoken trying to use that high ground to his position. Going to snipe one siege tank. Looks like he's going to snipe another one. Artosis pushing up here. Going to try to break the small container. That's unfortunate for Nyoken that he didn't have any supporting troops with his siege tanks. So you can see Artosis was able to just drop Goliaths in really close to the siege tanks and get his own siege tanks up and pick off Nyoken's attacking force. And now Nyoken really on the back foot. I don't see an army really anywhere. He's only got 4 Goliaths and a siege tank, so Nyoken in a very dangerous position here. These siege tanks here, I mean, half of Nyoken's army is just sitting here trying to pick off units that try to get by. And of course, Artosis, he's just comsetting all around this area. He realizes that Nyoken has no army whatsoever. Just going to come in and just push right into Nyoken. And it looks like he's going to set up here right by the cliff, and that's going to do 2 things for Artosis here. You can see he's going to be able to take a lot of SCVs. Poor Nyoken losing even more SCVs. But by having these siege tanks here in this position, he's going to be able to put pressure on Nyoken's second base. Probably going to be able to force that to lift off. So Nyoken is going to lose this mining expansion. And with Artosis holding this critical bridge here, he's going to prevent Nyoken and seeing those SCVs moving up to this area right here. That's probably going to give Artosis a really good idea that this expansion is here for Nyoken. And as I was saying, holding this critical junction here, that's going to prevent Nyoken from moving out and harassing Artosis. He's going to have to move all the way up through this side passage and out and around, and that just takes a lot of time and a lot of extra micro to do that, while Artosis, you know, he can pretty much just leave these guys here and just forget about them, and they're going to do their job. They're going to prevent Nyoken from moving out. So Artosis, of course, is going to start taking the map, not taking this position here because of these siege tanks, so he's going to go ahead and just take the top right hand corner pretty much for himself. 4 factories down for Artosis, 6 for Nyoken, and he's just pumping out troops here. He has a dropship. He could potentially try to... Nope, okay, maybe not. Artosis planning for some kind of drop by. Nyoken went ahead and has set up defensive positions with these supply depots and these missile turrets. Not going to let Nyoken drop him. And of course with these Goliaths here, Nyoken really can't drop these siege tanks without losing the dropship. So Artosis just looking to be in a very strong position at the moment. And actually Nyoken coming down to try to harass these forces, but Artosis coming in at the top side of that expansion. Nyoken forced them siege tanks, try to move them up, and now this would be a great time for Artosis to move these forces up and put pressure from the bottom, help take out those siege tanks. But no, it looks like Artosis is not going to do that. Going to just try to beat this, take down this expansion with just the forces he has. 2 Goliaths going down the volley. Spider-Mine's getting laid, and one of them takes out those 2 siege tanks of Nyoken. That's just really unfortunate for Nyoken. Unfortunately for Artosis, these vultures look like they might mop up these siege tanks. Spider-Mine being placed, and that siege tank is going to go down to that Spider-Mine. So Artosis loses his attacking force to a timely vulture reinforcement, and they were able to take out a lot of Artosis forces there with just the Spider-Mines. And it's unfortunate for Artosis that he didn't bring these forces up here. Of course, that would have left this junction open for Nyoken to try to do a counter, but really if Artosis had taken out this third base of Nyoken, that would have been GG, I think, for Nyoken. Nyoken needs to hold this third base since he can't mine from the second base. If Nyoken loses this third base, that's GG. You can see his main base is getting dangerously low on minerals. He doesn't even really have that many SCVs to speak, and of course Artosis still has his 2 expansions that he's mining from. He has the top right corners now, and he's going to be able to start mining from that. So Nyoken just in a really bad position. You see he's kind of forced a long distance mine here with those SCVs. Command center burning down here, and Nyoken just trying to boy, he doesn't even really have any forces protecting his third base. Artosis could just come in here, and it looks like that's what he's doing. He has another dropship force moving in here. Vultures are going to spot that though, and now Nyoken going to try to reinforce. Maybe he's got these units here. He really should I mean, I know he doesn't want to leave his front gate open, but if he loses this third base, boy, Nyoken's just really he's just in such a bad position. He just does not have the forces to protect his main base and his his third base at all. Because of the mobility that the dropships are giving to Artosis, and you can see Artosis coming in now with the siege tanks in the glass. They're going to drop off here and siege up, looks like on the low ground, and force Nyoken to lift off that third base. Now Nyoken is down to just one base. He's running low on minerals, even though he's harassing here, really just, and boy, just not looking good for Nyoken. You can see that he GG's and leaves the game. So game 2 goes to Artosis. So that means Artosis is going to go ahead and move on to face Skew in the finals. So this is Cyanic Reaver. Thanks for listening.